The conversation around the iPhone 18 has moved well beyond the usual yearly refresh. If the latest leaks and industry whispers are accurate, Apple isn't just planning an upgrade, it's preparing to reset what the iPhone is, aiming for a bold new identity centered on a pure, bezel-less, full-screen future across supply chain signals, display industry reports, and insider chatter. A consistent picture is forming. Apple is lining up one of the most dramatic iPhone redesigns in modern history. This isn't about a slightly brighter OLED, a new finish, or a marginally faster chip. The big story is a singular, audacious goal delivering the first truly uncompromised, wall-to-wall display on an iPhone. The kind of sci-fi screen people have dreamed about since the earliest. Bezel-less concept renders hit the internet. At the heart of this effort is the headline feature that keeps surfacing. Under-display Face ID. Apple is reportedly refining an advanced, next-generation system that hides the entire true depth array beneath the screen. Many brands have tried under-panel sensors. None have met Apple's bar for speed, accuracy, and reliability, especially when it comes to security. Think about what that demands. Today's true depth system isn't just a front camera. It's a precision cluster, a dot projector to map depth, a flood illuminator, an infrared camera, plus proximity and ambient light sensors. Right now, all of that lives inside the dynamic island. Moving it under the display isn't a simple relocation. It's a forefront battle across physics, optics, software, and materials science. The display itself becomes the obstacle. Old pixels and subpixel matrices can bend, scatter, and attenuate infrared light. Every attempt to hide cameras and sensors beneath active display layers has produced compromises, foggy images, slow biometric response, unreliable recognition, and uneven color or contrast. Face ID relies on mapping millions of depth points in real time. If the glass, adhesives, or pixel structure above those sensors distort even a fraction of that data, accuracy plummets. That's why current under-display cameras look hazy or washed out, and why other brands' solutions often feel like first drafts. Apple won't ship a security feature that fails even a small percentage of the time. Subpar is not an option here, according to a frequently cited Weibo leaker. Smart Pikachu, Apple isn't following the same playbook as Samsung, Xiaomi, or ZTE. Instead, it's reportedly exploring a far more sophisticated approach, a micro-transparent, laminated glass stack with ultra-precise optical layering. Think of it as an invisible window embedded inside the display, a nano-engineered zone where light and infrared signals can pass with minimal diffraction, refraction, or scatter, all without the user perceiving any difference on screen. Done properly, this kind of stack would involve index-matched materials, optically clear adhesives, and micro-structured layers that align with sensor wavelengths. It would require retraining Apple's neural pipelines, building new calibration routines at the factory, and teaching the system to compensate for any residual distortion dynamically. This is not simply hiding hardware. It's designing the display to behave differently above the sensors while still looking identical to the human eye. Yes, it's years of R&D. It's algorithmic heavy lifting. It's custom silicon tuned to the micron level. And if any company has the vertical integration, compute headroom, and obsession with tolerances to pull it off, it's Apple. Apple's pattern is consistent. When it ships security tech, it's expected to feel instant, invisible, and bulletproof. If the iPhone 18 launches with under-display Face ID, expect it to arrive polished, not as a public beta disguised as a feature. But the front isn't the only area rumored to change. Multiple reports hint that the iPhone 18's back could take on a new aesthetic, possibly a semi-transparent glass finish. Not retro see-through plastic, but a refined translucency that subtly hints at the internal architecture without fully revealing it. Beyond aesthetics, shifts in opacity or glass composition usually reflect deeper changes. New thermal pathways, a reworked chassis, redistributed antenna lines, or fresh MagSafe coil designs. Apple rarely alters materials for surface-level reasons alone. Zoom out and the design story snaps into focus. Apple doesn't just redesign for the moment. It lays stepping stones toward long-term goals. The iPhone X's notch wasn't a quirk, it was the starting line for reliable facial authentication. The iPhone 14 Pro's dynamic island wasn't simply an answer to the notch, it was a UI bridge between visible hardware and software experiences. Each generation since the iPhone 15 has moved in one direction. Make the hardware less visible and the experience more immersive. Which brings us to the projected roadmap many observers see emerging. iPhone 15. The notch shrank and matured into a more integrated experience. iPhone 16. The dynamic island footprint reportedly tightened and refined. iPhone 17. Further size and efficiency. Refinement set the stage. iPhone 18. Under display. Face ID begins the invisible hardware era. iPhone 19. If Apple doesn't skip it. Further perfects under-panel camera quality. iPhone 20. Rumored for 2027. The all-screen milestone, no notch, no island, no punch hole. The rumored twist is that Apple could bypass the iPhone 19 name to mark the 20th anniversary of the original 2007 iPhone, branding the 2027 device as iPhone 20, whatever it's called. The ambition is clear, a pristine sheet of intelligent glass powered by Apple Silicon, no visible interruptions, possibly including a fully hidden selfie camera. This evolutionary pacing is classic Apple. Instead of rushing a flashy spec for marketing slides, it advances step by step. Stabilize the tech, minimize trade-offs, keep battery life and thermals in check, ensure longevity, and only then push the envelope again. Back to the iPhone 18 and the key decision. Does Apple ship full under-display Face ID this cycle? Or use a smaller punch-hole camera as an interim step? Historically, Apple prototypes multiple hardware paths in parallel. There may be test units with full under-panel Face ID, others with hybrid solutions, and versions that rely on a reduced cutout. Final design choices often lock relatively late compared to rumor timelines. After Apple validates performance and yields at scale, what feels undeniable is that the iPhone 18 is poised to be one of the most ambitious iPhones in years. It looks like the inflection point, the bridge from the dynamic island era to the invisible hardware era. And the stakes aren't just aesthetic. A true edge-to-edge display changes how you read, watch, game, and create. It elevates immersion, simplifies the interface, and removes a decade of UI workarounds built around display cutouts. The tech hurdles are massive, but so are the potential payoffs. Faster, more consistent biometrics that work across lighting conditions without visible hardware, cleaner display uniformity, with no distractions in video, gaming, or full-screen apps, a reimagined backglass that may hint at internal design shifts for cooling, durability, or wireless performance, smarter calibration at the silicon level, using machine learning to correct for optical artifacts instantly. None of this means Apple will throw caution to the wind. Expect ruthless testing for false acceptance and rejection rates, durability across millions of unlocks, display color and brightness uniformity, and resilience against long-term old wear. Expect new manufacturing tolerances and partnerships with suppliers to meet the optical standards under panel. Expect the neural engine to quietly do more than ever in the background to make the experience feel like magic dots. So what do you want from the iPhone 18? Would you trust under-display Face ID if Apple says it meets or exceeds today's reliability? Would you accept a small punch hole for one more year if it guarantees a flawless jump to fully hidden sensors after? Do you want Apple to push hard for a 100% uninterrupted display, even if it means radical engineering under the hood? However you answer, one conclusion is hard to escape. The iPhone 18 is shaping up as the start of Apple's next chapter. The moment when a decade of rumors about a truly all-screen iPhone begins to materialize in your hand. And if the 2027 model really is aiming for the iPhone 20 milestone, a C5 slab of uninterrupted glass, then the countdown to the next smartphone revolution is already underway.